Cultural and Environmental Learning Center Advisory Board, commonly known as CELCAB, and we are meeting here at Bay Oaks on Oak Street. It is Thursday, August 28th, 2025, and it is 1:05 p.m. And let's call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Got the flag. Oh, it's right behind you. Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have two that have excused absences, and that's Carrie and Betty, and I do believe we have a quorum, barely. So I'd like a consensus that Carolyn can join us via Zoom.
Please.
Everyone?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so Carolyn, welcome to the meeting. Carolyn, can you hear us?
And I do believe we have a quorum, barely.
Carolyn?
She's got a delay, I think. Yeah, there's a delay in Zoom a little bit.
That's going to be a
Okay, so
She have to mute it?
She's going to hear you in a second. There she goes. See this surge in it.
Okay.
Carolyn, can you hear us?
So, Barbara, she's watching the YouTube feed that we have.
She's watching
So if she stops watching YouTube, will the delay go away?
There'll be a delay, yeah.
So that's an issue. That's just concerning. Can you do this on Zoom? Is this on Zoom? She's doing it?
Josh. So she's on Zoom, but it sounds like she's watching the YouTube video
Okay.
to see you guys.
All right.
But she can hear you through Zoom if she has her settings
All
and
right,
speakers correctly.
Carolyn, is this a delay if I'm talking with her?
For Zoom, no.
Okay.
For YouTube, yes.
Carolyn, are you on audio? For Zoom? Carolyn?
So that's an issue.
Yeah, that's how delayed it is.
Oh, wow.
Can you do this on Zoom? Is this on Zoom?
Okay.
What would you suggest, Josh?
So she's on Zoom, but it sounds like she's watching the YouTube video to see you guys. But she can't hear you through Zoom if she has her settings and speakers correct.
Can you, now it's system for you, when I talk.
Can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can.
Are you on?
I can't get for some reason, I haven't used.
Are we voting on anything? Are we voting on anything today?
No, just the minutes that I can see. Yeah, most of it's.
It's just discussion.
It's just discussion. I don't know if she just wants to watch.
All right. Carolyn?
We can.
See, that probably
We can
means
call
there's a
her.
delay.
Carolyn.
I am so sorry. I have not used this system before,
Okay.
and I cannot get the audio. I have the video, but I cannot get the audio. So please do not let me distract from this meeting. I can keep up with it online because I don't know how to resolve my issue.
Okay, that actually will work because this is.
Yeah, thank you kindly.
All right, thank you, Caroline. I'm just.
And if you need to say something, I can be your text buddy. Text me, Ellen, and then I will relay whatever you text.
Well, there you go. Although that's still an issue. They could text Adam.
Oh, text Adam, okay. Oh, yeah, because I can't,
They can't text you.
yeah.
We're getting back to an 8
Yeah, or if there's something we need to discuss, we can call her.
Right.
Okay.
Since there's no vote, I think it's fine, except for the
Yeah.
minutes, but we do have a quorum. So, Caroline, I'm hoping that you can listen in and be a part of the meeting, but we're not going to do the audio portion because that is a distraction for the rest of the meeting. Okay, so we will start with roll call, beginning with our Vice Chair, Jim Adderhold.
Vice Mayor, Jim Adderhold is here.
Thank you.
CELCAB member Ellen Vaughn is here.
CELCAB member Sherry Smithers, Barbara Hill, Betty Warner.
Jeff Helby, Adam May.
Okay, thank you. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? If so, I'd like a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which will be way back in May.
Okay, Ellen, thank you. A second?
I'll second, this is Becky.
All right, Becky is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried with no amendments or corrections to the minutes of May 22nd. Thank you. We'll go to public comment. Do we have anyone here from public comment? No. All right.
Just know we do have one person in the audience. That's
I
good.
do see that. But maybe this might be a good time to do an introduction.
Okay.
sorry, I didn't mean to troll.
No, no worries. Can I sit down? Can I sit down?
Sure,
Okay.
well, whichever you prefer.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. My name is Natalie de la Torre Salas, and I am the public archaeologist for Southwest Florida. I work with the Florida Public. Oh, I need to sound.
Well, the mic.
You
Oh, that is a
share
mic?
with
Cute.
anyone.
Sorry?
Just
No, no
looking
worries.
at you.
Okay, that is a very cute microphone I've never seen before.
I remember
I
you at
apologize.
the conference in Tampa. I was there.
Oh my God.
I'm one of the charter members of that state organization.
Wonderful. Well, nice to see you again. Well,
FAPAP. She's a member of FAPAP.
FPAN.
Oh, the FPAC. Oh, yes. She
FPAC.
gave that talk at the Mount House.
Yes, no worries. Well, sorry about that, but I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Natalie de la Torre Salas, and I'm the public archaeologist for the Florida Public Archaeology Network Southwest region. I have the honor of working in the 5 counties of Southwest Florida: Lee, Collier, Hendrick, Glades, and Charlotte. So if you ever see a white Jeep that says archaeology running around the entire region, say hi, that's me. Yeah, I have the pleasure and honor to collaborate and partner with Adam Knight, Museum Director for Mount House, on many of the events. We have one of the best partnerships across the state. So we're a great case study of what great things can do when you combine public archaeology with the good and strong foundation in a museum mission, so an education. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you for introducing
Can I ask
yourself.
a
I
quick question?
appreciate that.
I just, could you explain, because this is unique, I think,
Of course.
Florida maybe, in Indiana, we don't have an archaeology.
Of course. Oh, I apologize.
What state agency you work through
Yes.
and how it all works?
Good point.
I'm excited to explain it and apologize
That's
for,
okay.
I forget that there's might people that are not familiar with it. So the Florida Public Archaeology Network, aka FPAN, because it's a very long name, is a result of a bill that was passed in the state of Florida now 21 years ago, that says that in order for the state to protect and preserve its archaeological and historical resources, it needs to have centers with public archaeologists to be able to teach people and promote the stewardship and protection of our archaeological and historical resources. So now the only way that the state figured out a way to put that bill into action was by having universities host these different centers across state. So since I am in the South Florida area, I work for Florida Atlantic University, with our campuses being in Boca Raton and the Davie campus, but I have colleagues in the University of South Florida, Flagler College in St. Augustine, and our headquarters and our museum is in Pensacola with the University of West Florida. So our goal is tripartite. My mission as a public archaeologist is to do museum education and outreach, which is our favorite thing, to be honest, but we also support any local government, and we assist the state divisions of historical resources, which every single state in the United States has one, and so we give a hand to our partners in Tallahassee.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a wonderful resource.
Yes, thank you so much.
When I first learned about it when I became a Florida resident, I was just very, very impressed.
Well, I appreciate that.
And just to be clear, she's just here to be here and listen, not to, she's
Yes.
not presenting today at all.
Oh,
Next time.
Maybe.
It's my first CELCAB meeting, so
Yes.
happy to be here and thank you for having me.
Thanks.
wonderful. Thank you. Staff report.
Hi. Just because of the size of the agenda, I'll try to be very brief with the staff report, even though it does cover 2 months. Feel free if you have any questions about the numbers on the first couple pages of the individual reports. I have 2 separate documents for the staff report, one labeled June and the other one in a much smaller font, unfortunately, labeled July.
So you just gave me 2 copies of June. I didn't
Oh
even pay
no.
attention.
They are separate months. So I'll just be going over briefly just for those at home or in the audience who don't have access to this document, the key takeaways at the back. So starting it with the June report in chronology. So the Mount House had two wonderful full-time education coordinators, Franklin De La Cruz. He left on June 12th, that was his last day with the town. He went to pursue a PhD fully funded at a university. So very proud for him. And then Ashley Shumsky, the other education coordinator, her last day was June 28th. She got a very nice position and a management level position at another museum in Collier County. So we're very happy for her and hope to continue working with her and collaborating with her at our new museum. So due to those staff shortages, the museum manager has been taking over some of those duties of the kayak tours and the other public programming, such as our guided tours, the shell mount tours. So we've cut back programming due to that staff shortage to be, instead of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, now currently offering kayak tours only on Saturday. And then, but then still doing those daily shell mount tours when the museum's open, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. There's been another incursion of flying termites at the museum. So the museum is set to be tented for treatment for that incursion, and it's set to close. You can see how optimistic I was in June. I have in the June report, August, that's when this report was written. The actual closure for the Mount House will be closed the week of Columbus Day. So that's as soon as they could get us.
What date is that?
That is October 13th.
So instead of
That
August,
Monday.
it's actually
I
October.
think you misspoke a little bit.
Yes, Indigenous Peoples Day or Columbus
Thank you.
Day, yes. You're correct.
Depending on which state you're in.
Yes. Yes, just for clarification, Monday, October 13th, 2025, which is both recognized as Indigenous Peoples Day and Columbus Day. So that whole week, the museum will be closed, and we won't have any public programs or anything like that for the tenting process. This will not affect any of the artifacts or anything like that. We only have to remove the jams, jellies, honey, and coffee from the store. So that's good.
So we want to sell out of those before we have.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
So we'll
We're having
remove
a fire
those.
sale.
Yeah.
Tent sale.
A tent sale. Now, is just the Mount House going to be exterminated, or will it also be the offices?
Just the historic case
Okay.
house, or the Mound House, as people call it, the big building.
Right.
Not the garage, which is currently used as restrooms and staff offices, so the grounds will continue to be open during that week, so people can come, park, fish, walk their dogs, and then use the restrooms and other public facilities. Just, unfortunately, we won't be able to host those programs or exhibits.
If you're out there, we aren't selling tickets to the circuses.
Let's just hope that the only closure will have this hurricane season.
Yes, yes.
Keeping everyone's fingers crossed, right?
Yes, so that's big. We got the fire suppression system repaired, which we discovered through a fire inspection in a partnership and lovely inspection from Fort Myers Beach Fire Department. We needed to replace a water line that went to the backflow switch for the museum, so that's fixed and repaired. So the fire suppression system's working, the sprinklers are working, so there's good news.
When did the sprinklers stop working?
Appears they had not been repaired fully since Ian.
And I believe what happened was they still had water, right? But it just wasn't
Correct.
It just wasn't to adequate pressure is what they needed.
To the second floor.
To the second floor. I mean, it still was operable, but it wasn't working to the level that
Put it in a sprinkle level.
Yeah, we don't know how much it would have came out of the heads.
It was just shy of the requirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not that they weren't working, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes,
Well,
that's
it's
a great
nice that we
clarification.
didn't have to use it, so no harm, no foul
Right,
there.
exactly. So, gutters installation work is still moving forward at Mount House. We have issued a deposit, and we're waiting on a date for the work to begin. So that should begin soon. And we had the ribbon cutting in June for our second Saturday event. We had 20 guests just for the water quality station ribbon cutting, including the town manager for Fort Myers Beach, council members Woodson and Safford, and Lee County Commissioner Malika. Pardon me if I mispronounce the last name. And in total, that event drew just over 60 people in attendance for the whole day for that free admission day, sponsored by the Fort Myers Beach Community Foundation. So very thankful for them sponsoring us to offer that free admission day. And thankful for the Fort Myers Beach Chamber Water Foundation for providing the funding of $32,000 to the Mount House to install that water quality sensor so the residents can be more aware about what's in the water in terms of key features that can help to better understand the overall health of Estero Bay. So very helpful with that. Continue our partnership with Florida Gulf Coast University. Since Ashley left, FGCU has had one of their staff members take over the responsibilities of maintaining and cleaning and calibrating those equipment and machinery. So we're very thankful for our continued partnership with Florida Gulf Coast University. We applied for the attraction marketing grant, and spoilers for upcoming months, we did receive $20,000 from the Lee County Visitor Convention Bureau, which is really saying something as over $800,000 were asked for and only $600,000 were available. So we're very thankful that we were given that almost nearly our full ask.
Wow.
Is that the Mouse House one, or is that the one,
Yeah,
Friends of the Mouse House?
They used to, yeah, it's the same one.
Yeah, we did it this year just to make it
Yeah.
clean.
You were allowed to do it this
Yep.
year, because before you couldn't.
You could.
Well, we always could have, but we just,
Ah.
for some reason, the Friends always ran it through them, so.
So there's no need to run it through new funds, which makes it feel much.
I think the
More
assumption when it didn't happen, and for whatever assumption, was that we didn't have a non-profit,
Yeah, so in all the documentation and applications for this and many other grants like it, though people will say nonprofit or 501c3, but if you look at the fine print, that also includes municipalities, which are technically another tax designation under IRS, but it's nonprofits and local municipalities.
So it's not either or.
So who's managing?
So we could have saved so much, you know,
The town
stuff
manager,
with your books
lovely.
by
Yes.
streamlining
What about
the
the kayak?
entire
Exactly,
process, by just
exactly.
having to go through the town.
You just missed that one. huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, the kayak launch, both from damage from Ian and then separate incidents from Milton and Helene, there's been a lot of washout for the kayak launch, so we're getting some help from the mooring field staff, who are kind of troubleshooting with Seth, who's the historic maintenance staff assigned to Mount House, in terms of doing an in-house replacement for that surface, so we have a better environment for our programs or tours, and then that public facility being a kayak launch beach access point, or shoreline access point technically.
Is it usable? Excuse me, is it usable? No.
Oh yes, it is usable.
Okay.
It's just we want to improve it and make the experience even better for our residents.
it's just there's some rips and tears in it. It's bubbling up underneath from probably just the sand being pushed
Like
out
all
or
of us.
whatever. Yeah, like everything, yeah. I wasn't gonna say.
We're doing beach walks at Newton. Currently, we're doing them Fridays at 9 a.m. Probably in October, we're going to shift them to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. But we'll continue doing those weekly beach walks at Newton.
And all of these things with the Royal We, because you know who's doing all of this now?
Yes.
It's the Royal We, because all the
Oh, we, yeah,
programming
party
that I
of
was talking
one.
about is the party of one that's out. I was there one day when he had kayakers at 9, and then he and I were going to talk, but then people showed up for the 1 o'clock tour. So he got none of his own work done that day because he was
Running the show.
right.
Yeah, so do you just want to give an update on the staff then?
Yes, so we were successful in hiring one full-time education coordinator. Her name is Emily Tunn, Tonn, and her start date is next Wednesday. So we're very excited. She's coming from I'm forgetting the name of the institution, but it's basically a science center that specializes in overnight field trips and summer camps in Catalina Island, California, where she's led kayak tours and staff doing kayak tours, snorkeling, hiking, science workshops, in-school programs. So she's done a lot. So she's coming with a lot of experience. So we're very excited that she's decided to move all the way here to Fort Myers Beach from Catalina Island, California.
California.
We do have one current head that's open. Do you have more to speak on your staff report?
That's all.
Okay, I'll just give a little ditty about the budget, the upcoming budget. I know it was hit hard right after that MMP meeting, I believe it was. Didn't have the most favorable responses, but Adam and I have sat down and we were asked by the council to see what we can do as far as making, some cuts to it and bridging that gap. And every single year, and I don't want it to sound like this is what we do, but Mound House, Bay Oaks, the mooring field, they're not meant to make money. They're a community
An amenity.
An asset.
Now, I get, Mound House has done a great job. We haven't had a rec center, and a rec center we're at about 11%, and it should be about 24% of revenue coming in. The rest is nationwide, is sponsored by their taxing agent, so that'd be the town of Fort Myers Beach. So historically, usually town-run rec centers and other cultural things do not make money. We have been asked to bridge that gap a little bit, and we understand that. So we have made some minimal suggestions. Most of it just taken off a couple thousand here for program supplies. I think overall it was like 5,000 in the whole budget, 50,000 of the whole budget. So that'll go to council. Right now, we don't propose any cuts to the staffing, the educators and those kind of things. So we know that you need staff to run programs. That's a big thing. So right now we have an opening for an educator. We have somebody that we've interviewed and liked. We just have to make sure that the council's okay with us keeping that. I don't want to hire somebody and then the council say you need to make more cuts. And I know they don't want to either. I know, Jim, I know you guys never want to cut.
No, just for the record, this was a very generic request to the town manager to see if he can find economies.
Yeah.
We have not seen Jeff's recommendations yet, the council has not, nor any other agency, no other director's recommendations. So I think he's been charged to look for economies, but none of that's been debated yet or even expressed publicly.
That'll come up on the 11th, September 11th. So
That's the next.
So we heard, is it closing? Is it going to close? No, I don't anticipate it closing at all. I think it's too good of an amenity to have. We'll fight for that, as a staff for sure, and I'm sure some council members will as well. I can't speak for them, but we did make. $50,000 is not necessarily peanuts in an environment like the Mound House has. They need money to keep their programs going and all that kind of thing.
Jeff, just to be careful, you're not recommending that the Mound House close.
Oh, no.
The people listed in this, and the council's not recommending.
No.
I don't want to start some kind of.
Yeah, okay, let me clarify. I think everyone saw the comments, heard the comments, and I know Ellen, you sent a nice letter in on our behalf, and I think it's just going to be more one of those things where we need to do our best to make cuts that we can make. It's not easy at all. It will be a little more difficult. Maybe we can ask the friends for a little bit here and there, which you have been gracious to do, or they have been gracious to do in the past. But I just wanted to put that out there. The cuts we made are proposed, I should say proposed, and the council could say, no, just keep all that money in there. We want to see that in there. They have that opportunity too. But I think we made some cuts that they'll be happy with, and the public will be happy with at least. And then when numbers keep going up and up and up, then we can, next year's budget season, if things are better, then we put that back in. So they are very, as you all know, Mound House and Adam is very responsible with their money. They do a good job at what they're doing. So I don't want that to ever be, they're not wasting, they're trying to do their best with what they have, and that goes for Bay Oaks too. We're making some actually more significant cuts to Bay Oaks. It's about $400,000. So that'll get presented, but it's just something that we need to do right now as far as our budget goes and what we can ask for council. So you know, with that, when I go speak to council on the 11th, my pitch is gonna be, yes, we're proposing some cuts, but that doesn't mean that, like it's been, Adam's gonna do everything out there, you know. Services, I'm sorry, if you don't have enough staff, enough time, services may not be the same. You know, we'll do our best with the ones we have, but we may not be able to do 3 kayak tours a week, it might just be 1. So I want everyone to realize that we are making cuts, and I don't want it to be a burden on the staff too, because they already work very hard. And but I want everyone to realize that the amount of programming might suffer.
Well, with regard to the kayak tours, that is a revenue producer. So it almost seems as though, especially during the season, do you have a point?
No, I was just thinking of some volunteers that used to do the kayak. Kim that I know of. Kim and Urs.
Yeah.
And I know that.
I mean, Kim is here year round, right?
Yeah, she's here year round, and she's hardy and healthy, and
But I
she
think
would
is that a
probably
question
love
of safety
to be
issues or
asked.
legal issues with regard to the town, or can you have a volunteer run?
Just run it.
I think there's the liability.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
you
what-
need-
that was
you
my
would need a
question.
staff,
I think the volunteer
but she
always
would
was
volunteer.
The aid.
The end,
The
Yes.
caboose?
the caboose.
The caboose.
The sleeper.
But yeah, there will be,
Line.
we will probably ask for, you know, you all volunteer and do a great job, but hopefully there's other people out there that can get that program up and running, do a little more, but I just wanted to be honest and transparent about that. I know it was talked about, and yes, no one of authority right now is saying close the us. That's not, it was a little bit conveyed that way after. I had heard a lot of rumblings about it, as you may have as well, but no, it'd have to be something drastic.
It cost you a pile of money
For what?
to close it.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. It costs us money to close it too,
Yeah.
but, well, you know,
Like $1 million. Just so everybody knows that.
No one's proposing closing.
I know.
No one's closing it.
I'm just telling you, you have to pay back that grant.
no, we are not, and I can't speak for the council, but I do not see them proposing that as well. They're such a good asset to us.
There's a structural deficit because of the impacts of Hurricane Ian that have finally caught up with us. We've got a lot of federal and state help those first couple of years that offset some of the revenue challenges that we had. We're just at this point now, we just have to tighten our belt a little bit. I think in the next few years, as folks continue to rebuild bigger and much more expensive places, and many people lose their homestead because they're transferring back and forth, I think the town will be in very good fiscal health in the next year or two, and hopefully these will all just be a kind of a hard memory, but we'll.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Jim, I didn't mean to say that anybody here suggested that.
No, but I just think it's important because there's a lot of, the Coconut Telegraph
It is very important,
is
yes.
very active these days, and I just want to make sure that there's no miscommunication on that.
Yeah, and it's,
Thank
you know,
you,
it's,
Jim, for mentioning that. That's hugely important.
oh yeah, we're talking about just minimal cuts. You know?
So likely more definitive use of docents and volunteers and things like that, or not?
I mean, yes.
Yes.
We've always had a need for docents and volunteers. We've lost a lot of volunteers due to health issues, displacement from the hurricanes.
Right.
People, sold and went back north. And so, and that was already after COVID. So we lost, there was a lot of volunteers lost from COVID and the impacts from that. And then FGCU, we're trying to continue that partnership, but a lot of FGCUs cut some majors, like they don't have anthropology or archaeology anymore, or the museum studies program anymore, so that funnel is kind of dried up, and there's less emphasis on like history and social science and more on STEM, like hard sciences, so we have some of that with the environmental students that are interested, but in terms of volunteers, yeah, definitely, because you need, especially for a field trip, to do field trips or to do outreach. I mean, right now, even with Franklin, and actually we would need at least one volunteer even to run a field trip. So, you know, everyone has their own lives, volunteers have their own lives. You know, people travel, you know, have health issues, things like that. So yeah, definitely, it depends. We're planning for, you know, all scenarios, but yeah, field trips and outreach, and the number of services we provide, would be impacted due to things, but we're trying to, plan that we continue to provide that services that we have for residents and for tourists, and adding to that tourism revenue and increasing visitation to the island, and you know, that funnel of visitors becoming residents.
And I think one other thing that everyone, I shouldn't even be on Facebook, but this is stuff I read. But I just want to address some of them, like why don't you apply for some grants? Why don't you apply for grants? Well, the town, you talk about Adam doing, you know, everything else. The town,
That's a full-time job
he has
in
been
itself.
writing all these grants and research. How many grants did you research?
For the
Just for in general?
anything this year? Yeah, I mean, there's I think 12 or 13 grants, and 9 of them don't exist anymore.
Yeah, and that was
At the
some of the
federal and state
research you
level.
were doing for the underground
Yeah.
exhibit.
Yeah,
And-
but they
and-
apply to all things.
Right.
I mean, even the
Yeah.
state cut all the funding for the arts.
That's exactly
Um,
right.
Exactly.
So, trust me, Adam's been looking. He's doing his due diligence and
If
looking.
if
And when we
anyone
get,
has
if we when we get a grants coordinator, hopefully for the town, you know, they can pick that up, because we do have, even after the hurricane, we have a ton of grants that need to be managed and are being managed by the staff right now, which is fine. But I know he could use some relief as well as all of us. So he is trying to look for grants and all sorts of possible ways to enhance the amount of us, which is great. So I thank you Ed, for that. Thanks.
So I think those on social media should be encouraged to vote with their feet and come and help.
I'm just answering some questions that were out there.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of one of those, what was your show?
Key questions for key staffers.
Correct, yes, kind of, if you remember after the.
Oh, yes, I
hurricane,
do.
those-
Yeah, that was very helpful.
So I mean, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because it is out there. Budget season is coming around, but no, Jim, to your point, no, we aren't proposing closing, nor is anybody else, I think, in that meeting was. But we were asked to do some hard looks at our budgets, and we did that.
And I think obviously, you know, between the staff and the council, looking at the budget for this year and then this topic coming up, I want everybody to be very clear that this was never a part of any conversation with CELCAB historically with regard to ever even considering the notion. So that's where we'd like to leave it.
I'm sorry, I should have made that more clear. I'm sorry. I was jumping right into the questions.
And jumping into questions too, we're talking about the issues of budget, but we just finished the June report. We have yet for Adam to do the July report, but since we are on the budget, I have 2 revenue-producing questions that hasn't been discussed as a possible way to earn revenue. What about a membership campaign to get additional members to be part of Mount House? And the other is, you know, the sales of at the museum store. How is that being marketed? And I think you're having a fundraiser coming up in September, but you know, are there other fundraisers being planned, or is Friends doing a fundraiser? So those are all potential revenue producers that could help fix that gap.
I wish I had it with
Mine
me, but
is.
our projected revenue for this year in total was, what was it? 60? 68,000. They've gotten, you're getting close to like 100,000, aren't you? For the year? With the store? I thought you were.
Oh, not the store.
But I mean, in general, the whole budget.
Yeah, so, I mean, in the June report, you can see what we made so far in the July report as well. So, to answer your question, Barb, Madam Chair, with the...
Which one are we doing, June or July?
You can look at July, since
Okay.
that has the most up-to-date information. Apologies, I didn't have time to do the partial August report, but I'll share that next meeting. So, like, our expected revenue for the store is $20,000, and on July 31st, we made $12,000. We had $12,000 in revenue. So, more than halfway in terms of the store for that projection. So again, I don't have August or September's numbers, but in terms of the store, we have been working on sales, trying to synergize sales. We have a lot of getting rid of dead stock, I believe is the terminology. You know, some of those things that have been there since the museum opened. Trying to get rid of that to alleviate.
How do you get rid of that? Since we've already purchased it.
Yeah, so a lot of the dead stock are usually deep discounts or sales, or in terms of a marketing push. Typically, nonprofits, organizations will ask for gift baskets for drawings, for raffle drawings.
Right.
So we use, sorry, some of the rare items in the stock that we give to these charity auctions. So that helps kind of turn that merchandise into a marketing opportunity and general brand awareness for Mound House. So that's how usually we've been getting rid of it, because it doesn't sell even with like a 60-70% sale. And then we've been doing sales like during second Saturdays. We've been seeing even though it's free admission day, we have sales in the store that are up that day. So things like that for the store, and we're working on more sales dates. In regards to membership, Karina, the museum development coordinator for Mound House, is working on writing a letter and basically doing an invitation back campaign to members who have had their membership expired for the last several years. So going back all the way to COVID, and reaching out to those expired members and reintroducing ourselves, just with a mail-in campaign and an email campaign right now.
Great.
So staff's working on that. And in terms of the event in September, that is the Sabor de Rancho, a night of history, dance, and food, whereby it is a program starting on September 20th. That's a Saturday, and it will be taking place at the Mound House and involving a salsa dance lesson, a Latin American dinner, buffet food. Karina won't be doing the salsa class. We have an outside a dance company coming in to teach salsa and sambaracha and things, merengue, but mostly salsa music. And then a little short 30-minute tour of the site's Latino heritage, especially in regards to the Rancho period. That middle period between the Calusa period and the modern period, during the colonial period. So we're excited about that event. It's not a fundraiser per se, it's a program, so that'd be program revenue for this fiscal year, since it's in September. But we have been working on, I've been meeting with the friends and brainstorming fundraising ideas. So we've had a couple ideas, and we're trying to find like the nonprofits on the island. People are starting to get their fundraising ideas, and there's been a really big increase in a lot of the nonprofits on the island for their fundraisers. So we're trying to find a program that doesn't step on any toes or is too similar to other ones that are currently planned or being done. So yes, we're working on many smaller and medium-sized, as well as one large-sized fundraiser that we're hoping to do in January.
Okay, but there is a thought about something happening in January.
Yeah.
Is a major fundraiser.
Yes, that one's more solid, late January, tentatively, an off-site program. We're still looking for a venue to do basically a gala with an activity. More details will be followed once we get more things confirmed. But yes, like one big fundraiser gala type or big fundraising event then.
Wonderful.
And then in terms of the July report, just to finish that up, there wasn't much
Madam Chair,
going on.
do you mind if I piggyback on your question about revenue opportunities? This we may want to postpone for another meeting, but I wanted to ask the staff and update them and make sure the CELCAB committee is up to date. This is much longer term and maybe another discussion, but I wanted to update you on what's happening with the water ferry. And as you may know, that I asked for the Arches proposal at the Moss Marina came forward with the willingness to build a terminal for the water ferry. And I asked for them to not only build the terminal, but to actually run a water ferry. And with a minimum of 4 stops, one on the south end, one mid-island, and one the Mound House. And they agreed, and that's actually, it's codified in the language for the Arches development agreement, or they actually have the CPD. So that's baked in. And and we just had the Fishtail Marina folks come before us for variance. They're rebuilding their marina. We asked them specifically to reserve some space for that water ferry at the Fishtail Marina. So we've got that locked in. Hopefully the other one would be like Snook Bite and then Mound House. Again, this is minimum. There could be more, but this is at a minimum. And I just think that once the ferry system gets going, it could potentially double the attendance at the Mound House, which would be pure revenue. I guess what I ask you all and then the committee is, are we, and again, a lot of these folks will be parking elsewhere and just coming via ferry, but there will be some people in the neighborhood that may drive to that stop to pick up the ferry. And I'm just wondering if we have any longer term plans, and this may be a different time for a different agenda item, for parking, additional parking at the Mound House in preparation for such an event like that, A. And B, on a secondary note, I had a couple of residents come up to me and ask me about, has the Mound House ever thought about kayak storage? In other words, if I own a kayak, can I store it there and just come over and use it whenever I want and use that beautiful launch there and then pay a fee for it, obviously, but they would sometimes need a place to park too, so it's sort of related to parking and revenue, all longer term. I'm guessing you've all thought about all this already, but I'm just curious as to have any short updates, and maybe this is a topic for a different time.
And actually, I'm glad you brought that point up, and that really all of these things really sort of point to the work that we still have yet to do on the strategic plan. And if you remember correctly, before Ian, we talked about needing that to be done. It was never done, and obviously now what we're trying to do is dovetail the Mound House strategic plan with the town strategic plan. I'm not quite sure at what stage you all are with getting that done, but all of this long range and short range planning does need to be part of that after a discussion and vote and council approval on getting that done. But you're right, so much of what we're dealing with right now is only in the talking stage, a potential agenda item for a subsequent meeting, but nothing is clearly outlined in terms of what it is we're doing, what is the outcome, who's responsible, what is the timeline. So very important thing that you brought up, not only with the water ferry, but the kayak and potential rental of the Mound House could be ramped up, I'm sure. But all of that, again, has to be part of a strategic plan, and that should be maybe next month's agenda item as a possibility to see where we are with that. We don't know. I haven't heard anything.
As far as the strategic plan for the town?
The town or the Mound House.
I think nice to have our deputy town manager stop by. Isn't she heading up the strategic?
And you know what? That'll be great because she can hopefully next time just walk down the stairs and come to the meeting.
Beautiful.
We're gonna, this should be the last meeting, the last temporary meeting, I should say. Temporary location. So we should be in the new town hall, which the open house is September 10th.
September 10th, yeah.
And then we'll be open for business on the 11th. So by the time we have the next CELCAB meeting.
And if we could really digress, this beautiful mural here, which is painted by a different artist that painted the arches at the original town hall that was destroyed by Ian. I was there this morning. The artist is the same artist who painted the arches for the original town hall, is painting the arches mural on the wall in the council chambers.
Just like the one before?
And it is spectacular.
It looks so good.
She's doing a great job.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
So she's about maybe 2/3 of the way done, and
Yeah.
it looks great. It's
And you know the incredible part, I don't want to say, but for some reason she's in a sling on the one arm, so she's painting one
She
arm
broke her
this
shoulder.
whole time.
Oh my God.
So she's been awesome, like, it's great. And she had to work without air conditioning one day, and it was awful, right?
Hopefully it wasn't the painting arm that.
No.
No, it was her off arm,
Oh,
but
well, thank God.
no, it looks
She
great.
didn't fall while painting either.
The detail she's putting into it is
Wow.
incredible.
Is this the same artist that did the library?
That's a great question. I think she's done one or two other on the island, but I don't know if she did the library or not. But she said she didn't do this one.
Because it wasn't
This has
the
been here for
library,
many
she's
years.
originally from Cincinnati,
Okay.
and now she's based down here. And Chuck, I don't know how to pronounce it, Bohanford, is that, it's Lauren.
Sounds right.
Yeah, but he's the one that introduced her to the town and actually funded, I think he funded the library.
Really?
One other thing, I'm sorry if we have more discussion.
I'll just digress.
Oh, let's answer Jim's question though. Adam and I have been talking about different ways, and kayak rental would be one way. The other thing is you can get a kiosk basically that you can put your credit card information in. It opens up a door. You you get a kayak out, you get your life vest. So we could look at something like that, that's almost like a self-serving kayak, so.
Or automated.
Automated, yes, automated, that somebody could just, you know, if they don't really want to go on a tour, which we really do encourage them to tour their pool, obviously, but they just want to rent the kayak for the day. We've been looking at that option in the last couple of weeks, so.
That's a great idea, but don't underestimate the number of people who want to own their own kayak and just, they don't have a place, they live in a condo, they don't have a place to keep it.
No, that's valid, so yeah.
Pay to store it there, and then there are some people who like to crew, and maybe there's a special place they can store their crew boat. And it's early in the morning, it's nice and calm, you know.
Let's find another lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then to answer your question about parking, we've looked into parking at Mount House. There was actually a previous agenda item in summer 2024 to try to find maybe adding 4 or 5 additional parking spots between the entry and exit loop the Shell Drive, or Dan Hughes Way, technically. Unfortunately, the removal of trees would cause a problem with the Florida Communities Trust lease that the town purchased the Mount House with, in regards to making sure that everything's fully enclosed and you can't see, and it would kind of just create a window for the large house that's being constructed next door that you can see from the museum. So, and then the removal of vegetation, we talked to the stormwater, and there's concern about the removal of that vegetation would maybe negatively impact drainage on Connecticut Street. In addition to abutting the archaeological site. But there is, I had successfully reached out to Leetran about expanding the seasonal trolley from the library, and they are planning to add it to their grant, as it is a grant-funded program that pays for the Leetran, that seasonal trolley, to expand it from the Fort Myers Beach Library, tentatively starting November 2026, that season, to have it go all the way down to Connecticut Street, turn, and have a pickup location at the overflow parking lot at 216, which is halfway between the Mount House and Beach Access 22 or 18, and then going down Shell Mound and back to Estero.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, that's, we're pushing for the Mound House, that's our agenda, you know, but ideally, we'd love it to go to Publix. You know, for those people those visitors that would go to Publix, take groceries, and then can come back on it, I mean, that would be, we'd love it to go all the way down.
To Santini?
Yeah. So, but we're shooting for the Mound House now, that's our goal.
That will be proof of concept, and then the next time you go.
I think you get a big need, because once you get, you have the library, and then there is a lot more after that. You know, there's a lot more public accesses and all those.
But should go to Santini anyway, all the way, eventually.
Eventually. That's probably gonna have to be a discussion for like town manager.
Well, yeah.
So while we're on that topic for Connecticut, what is the status of the sidewalk that goes from the parking area to Mount House?
No status yet. We do have some monies coming in for road repair and sidewalk repair that we could potentially use.
Is that going to be a town expense?
The sidewalk?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason they did it to, it was FDOT that did it from Estero to
Connecticut, from
to Shell. Yeah, so that was, if we would have to do that on, because it's our right of way.
Oh.
So, and as we know, if there's not a grant for it right now, it's kind of hard to put in the budget. But I've gotten a couple, I got an email 2 weeks ago from an individual that lives across from Beach Baptist, and they politely reminded me that the sidewalks need to be trimmed. And we're working on that. It was a very nice email, so they just asked if we could go edge it a little bit, which we need to do on Estero too, but we did it that next weekend, and they thanked us.
Oh, that was good.
Because they said, you know, it does go down to Mount House, and then once you get to Shell Mound, then you gotta walk on the street, which isn't safe.
And the unfortunate thing is that DOT would have paid for all of that expanded sidewalk all the way to the Mount House. So we lost a lot of funding because the neighbors were up in arms, and we listened to them. That's a public right of way, and it would have been a safety issue, but I think there was just not enough push to fight the neighbors, and so the neighbors.
I think we got it to Shalmon because we said it could be used as a beach access park. If I remember. Still good. No?
That's.
I thought it had to connect to Sterol some way for some public transportation, public.
No, I just remember it.
No, that was
I
left
just
out
went
too.
to Shell Mound.
Okay.
And I think it could be that the bulk of the neighborhood was from Shell Mound to the bay, which meant that that was the majority rule for that particular segment of Connecticut Street.
And it may be a completely new set of neighbors. There's
Yes.
been a lot of turnover in that
Rather
block.
than
I would assume it is,
We
actually,
got
quite a few.
two on the end.
That was the biggest hurdle,
Those are the
wasn't
two,
it?
yeah.
So that was
Two
good.
in the end.
So, do you want to talk more about July, or we're done?
Not much happened in July, to be frank.
Okay, no, but it's-
It really a continuation of what we were doing in June, and then now just treading water.
So are you suggesting that, given the fact that, it's been a slow time, are we going to meet our budget for this coming this year, the one that ends the end of September, in terms of what our projections were and what our reality is?
By next meeting, I don't know if I can definitely have that information for the October meeting to go over as a year review for what we did all throughout the fiscal year and include some of the budget parts for kind of a general staff report for the year. For the
Yeah, I
October
mean, it's
meeting.
obviously, we're not responsible for the budget. We don't, we can't dictate income and revenue or expenditures, but it's good for us to kind of get a sense of, are we going in the right direction?
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring up the budget talk here too. Is I wanted to keep all of you informed as to what's going on.
Right. We can't vote on it, but we certainly would love to, get whatever we can in terms of, are we doing the right thing? I think, and an advisory board is sort of an offshoot of a fiduciary responsibility, but how can you advise if you don't know how well we're doing things?
Or what help we may need.
Exactly.
Can I just say a little, I'm really so pleased that you guys have put all of this work and Adam for picking up and doing volunteer work and pick up the phone if you need something. But we still have, and on this island, and I'm ashamed to say it, but there's still so many people that are negative on the Mount House, which you probably have found. So I think oh yeah, I have people that I've never been there, and I don't intend to go there. They think it was, remember what was named a money pit at one time by our good friend.
I set him straight back that year.
Well, that's good. But anyway, there's still that perception out there, and I think the more we do to bring in our residents, like you're saying with the trolley, with anything that can, something that's been a couple of times we had free attendance at if you had a fire sale, a tent sale, but if anything that you could bring residents, you give them something. They like anything that they're going to benefit from. And if they get a free trip, that might do it so much often. But anyway, anything we can do to the public, I guess is what I'm saying, to improve our image. Because it's still there. We've lost a lot of money.
But you don't hear, I've been there and it's a dump. You don't hear that. Everybody that's been there,
you're right.
Usually loves it once they're there.
Pleased once they have seen it.
Yes,
Exactly.
I think, I was kind of the same way. I was down in Bay Oaks when I first started working here. I didn't get to Mount House. I think we drove by it. But then I started to really work, down there after the hurricane.
Yeah.
Man, I miss going there. I miss it every morning. I could, it's just so peaceful there. It's,
Exactly.
it's great. It's got a lot of good amenities. It's got a restroom if you want to fish or if you want to go kayaking or whatever. But we see the good in it, and I appreciate that, Sherry. That I think most you don't normally hear. I've been there, and it's
right. Yeah, you don't.
Once you're there, I think you love it.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
See, I volunteered yesterday and did not have very many visitors, but the people that did come were absolutely gobsmacked. They were just so amazed. In fact, one gentleman was volunteer Crow, and he actually used to work here.
Nice.
She had encouraged him to come, and he raved and stayed for a few hours, and was just taking pictures, and
Yeah, that's.
And with social media, I'm sure I'll hear if they didn't like the experience now, but I think in general, people just love it. You know, I encourage everyone, you know, if someone says, where can I fish on Fort Myers Beach? You know, I said, go to the observation pier. Because a lot of my friends, they have little kids and they like to fish. You know, they're not out to get the trophy ones, but they just want to go and relax. And it's great out there. Then they'll go and be like, man, that was great. A few people out there fishing already.
And then there were educational opportunities with all these signs.
Yeah,
which
and
are
then,
narrative, and they got a little, you know, more of a passive experience about learning more about the island.
Yeah, so we all see the good in it. We're going to advocate for it. So just one quick, I'm sorry, I do probably have to go in a little bit, but I just want to give you an update about Newton.
Okay.
Yes.
So we put out the bid for design, and it was awarded. However, in the bid package, we had put something in there that wasn't supposed to. We actually put an addendum. Wasn't supposed to be a price sheet in there. So we put an addendum like, please do not fill the price sheet out. It went through, we awarded it, and now somebody's challenging us on it, so we're gonna have to rebid for design. So we're looking at another 30 days before we can even get the design. But the nice thing about Newton is we all kind of talked about the conceptual, you know, drawing that they did for the R2P2.
Right.
So it's not like we're gonna have to reinvent the wheel there. I mean, once the architect comes in or the designer, they'll design it, but
And they're going to use that as sort of the
footprint.
the conceptual
Yes.
plan, because I thought it was a great one. I think we all collectively loved the conversation about what it was going to include.
Yeah, and it didn't have a structure, it just had a larger tiki hut. I think between that and the pavilion and the grass, I think you could get, I think whoever the R2P2 came in and said you could probably fit 400 people in there, you know, with chairs and for a wedding and all that, so, or a party, whatever you want to do, but it is still moving forward. It's not as quick as we were obviously hoping. I was hoping it'd be done already, to be honest. I got so excited when we were awarded. But it's just a process because it's Lee County and HUD. And then it has to go to Lee County, then it has to go to HUD. From Lee County's review to HUD review, and then back to Lee County to approve, and then come back to us. So there's a lot of moving parts. We do have weekly meetings with them, so it's not something that has been forgotten. It's moving forward. We do have the funds for it. It's just, we gotta jump through these steps. So after the design, we could probably do that fairly quickly, I would think, and then we can put it out for bid for 30 days and then hopefully start construction. So.
And you couldn't have really done anything before now anyway, because they've still got the equipment there from the beach immersion.
Well, that was only because nothing was really going on there. We were supposed to get it back, I think, May, yeah. So, but it's been delayed and delayed and delayed. They are going to use that front portion for the dune planting. That's going to be a staging area, and then we are going to put more of a, I guess, permanent fence up because we don't want people driving into that area to keep them out. So I know the one side on Strandview, there's no fence because that's where the trucks are driving around. We're going to put a fence there just to kind of keep people out and make it look a little nicer too. So right now it's that green fence, and then anytime the wind blows, it comes down. So we have a little bit of put a little bit of money into putting a real fence there for a while.
Okay. So with that, Ed, do you
Sorry,
have more to add?
No.
Actually, since we're on the subject of Newton Park, what about the fitness court?
We're still in the talks with them. I think, Barbara, as you know, it required a
Public art component.
pretty big match too.
Oh, it did.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, that's.
So they give us like a 40 or 50%, 40-some% grant, and then we cover the rest.
Oh, okay. And do we know what the projected cost was going to be? Well, we should know because we
with the awning and the public art, I think it was, I want to say like 220.
Yeah, so obviously our budget does not allow for that.
Not unless we can somehow finagle it into the money we got for new.
Well, frankly, I don't know about the rest of you, but we've got other things to do with that money. And that fitness court was sort of, I thought, it was like an afterthought or a gift, or like an opportunity that came up. but if it requires a match, and we're not.
Yeah, and we're not putting up a structure, we have 2.6 or 3.3 million for that, for Newton, so we are gonna have a big chunk of change that we can spend there, so we'll see what comes back budget-wise, and yeah, that would be, I hate to say an afterthought, but that would be something if we had.
Phase two.
Phase 2, yeah, so.
Yeah. And you know, and we've voted to have it at Newton Park, so that part of our job is already done. It's just that, is that opportunity going to be available in 2 years?
I'm assuming as long as the
Okay.
fitness court is around.
Okay.
We didn't bring it to council even yet because we were unsure, so we're just waiting, because once we start the ball rolling, it starts the grant time, and we're just not sure. So, and we're not even sure when Newton's gonna be done, so
Right.
we're kind of just holding off a little bit, but it would be nice to have it down there, but also I want to put the money into Newton Park, you know, and the park and the beautification of that, so we'll see. We know costs are just going up and up and up, so for everything. So we're going to use that money for Newton Park, and if there's some way to fit the other part in, great. But yeah.
All right, so let's move on with old business, Adam, your museum assessment program, organizational assessment report.
Yeah, so just to remind everyone, the Museum Assessment Program, which is through the American Alliance of Museums, the National Accreditation Institute for Museums, and kind of in the United States, with the lack of a centralized Ministry of Culture, the American Alliance of Museums kind of acts in that niche for setting standards and establishing best practices. They're the ones that dictate or provide input for what is and what isn't best practices, and what isn't ethical, or what is and what isn't an accredited museum. So in January 2024, a team of 5 individuals from staff, CELCAB, and Friends of Mountain House met basically bi-monthly, all the way until September 2024, and we had a peer reviewer, Dr. Scott Neal, come and visit. And he visited, he met with council, he met with CELCAB, he met with the finance department, he met with, neighborhood services, he met with the staff at the museum, he met with volunteers, he met with the friends, he met with CELCAB. And he, through his observations in that visit and all the information and data he had been compiled from that multi-month workshop process between staff, volunteers, and CELCAB advisory board members, he compiled this report. And he submitted this report to us in November 2024. So we are on page 18 of this report of the administration and finance section under, as we've already discussed, the first 3 sections, which were really the meat and potatoes of the report, which is a report, again, not a pass or fail on if we are a good museum or even if that is a thing. It's, again, helpful tips and suggestions based on the recommendations of this professional in the museum field, using the established policies of the American American Association of Museums to provide feedback and suggestions to help us on our way towards a path towards accreditation, which is kind of the next step after this project that we're currently working on, which includes the establishment of a strategic plan, a collection management policy, an emergency preparedness plan, a code of ethics, and establishing and codifying all those documents through a formal process through CELCAB and council, and implementing those policies as well, and applying for accreditation. So we discussed in great detail a lot of some of the challenges and opportunities when it comes to governance. And so these next few sections, they do look like a lot, but again, it wasn't really the main focus of his analysis. Again, it was more the organizational component that he's examining all of these different subsets, including this first one, administration and finance, which is agenda item A. So I just found some key points. I'll basically just go over the recommendations because I want to encourage feedback and dialogue between the CELCAB members. But if you read pages 18 through 20, he has his findings of how he believes the finance and administration for the museum as relates to organization, and his 3 recommendations for this section.
I probably haven't. I mean, I haven't in my folder.
So his first recommendation is explore the possibility of hiring a full-time marketing and events coordinator. If not possible, look to volunteers or interns who can assist with marketing and event planning. His second recommendation, the town of Fort Myers Beach should not consider Mount collections, that the artifacts, as financial assets, rather as cultural assets, and that they are in the public trust for future generations, aka if something tremendous happened in dire straits, the collections are safe from any financial seizure or anything like that. And then his final recommendation for finance and administration would be the town of Fort Myers Beach and the Friends of Mountain House need to look at grants outside the local and state levels for educational programs, collection care needs, internships, and historic preservation. That's kind of the overview, just a refresher, because it has been a few months since we've been able to meet. And I'm happy to answer or any questions that you have that relates to his report for this subsection.
Yeah, just you may be aware of this, you may not be, but I met with the town manager and the deputy town manager today or this morning, and Tracy had said something to the effect that they were on the cusp of hiring an events manager for the town, so there might be some economies there. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be on hold for a year because of the budget issues, but it's still in the works longer term, so maybe there's some synergies there. You may already know that, so.
Absolutely, yeah, we always like to work with the other departments in the town.
That's a nice goal as well.
Always.
I'm going to turn the AC
Thank
down.
you.
Oh,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you.
It's a direct win right here.
Yeah, sorry, I just.
Alternative ice cubes.
I know.
Oh, were you freezing up?
You brought a sweater in, Gene? You were.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but it was a little chilly.
So, any questions for Adam, concerns, thoughts about the status?
Well, just as a reminder, we had some significant issues with the first sections, and I do recall that there was an opportunity for us to, in essence, I don't want to call it, I don't know what the right vocabulary word would be, I'm sort of going to misuse the word rebuttal, because there were some contentions in the first part that I think were a misunderstanding. And so just so that the record is complete, that those of us that have been involved with the Mountain House for a long time dispute some of the conclusions.
I think that's a huge step forward, Ellen. I mean, that's just a giant step forward, because I think the reviewer certainly recognized the discordance that was occurring between council and staff and friends and so yeah. That I think helps.
And we are welcome as the town to submit updates to it, but basically that it won't change anything. If the report's written. Again, it's kind of like when you're given back your job review or like a paper in school. You can add your name after the fact and maybe the teacher used bluing instead of redding, but the assessments, the meat and potatoes are still the same, and it's kind of just for us. So it's not necessarily this is going to affect AAM's opinion of us or Dr. Scott Neal's opinion or anything like that. But it's for our own internal records, which can definitely be updated, and we can add our own amendments. But in terms of changing his writing and things like that,
I think we just want to have an addendum that indicates our response, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I echo Ellen's concern. There is still a sentence in here that I just, for the record, disagree with respectfully. It says this is because of this perceived deference of authority by the town council, the Cultural Environmental Learning Center Advisory Board has taken on a more and more hands-on day-to-day operations approach to its role, which in my opinion is against the town of Fort Myers Beach's charter. Now, as I understand the charter, the town council can yield to the advisory committee such responsibilities as they deem necessary. and I believe we've done that. So I would just take issue, just for the record, it's not worth, making a big fuss over, but I don't think what the town council has done by being deferential to the CELCAB is in violation of the town charter. I think we've done that consciously as a result of A, and B, because of the experience of the members of the CELCAB committee. Just for the record, I just thought I'd say that, because that language still bothers me a bit, but it's not worth it.
I can see where it would be problematic, and I think, and I think they're looking at it from a different point of view, a different governmental structure or museum structure. But I think if you're saying that we are not in violation of our charter, and that the council collectively respects the advisory board and what we as recommendations bring to council for review and approval is an appropriate course of action.
Maybe by way of example, the audit committee has specific charge as to what it does. And it's actually a statutory committee, just like the LP is. There's only 2 statutory committees in the town council. But the audit committee has its charge, but the council has the ability to add additional responsibilities to the audit committee as needed. So given what we've been doing, and it just has almost become practice here, my biggest issue is I don't think it's a violation of the charter. You can argue whether it's wise or not, but I think it's a bit cavalier to say it's a violation of the town charter. Again, not worth making a mountain out of a molehill here, but I just, for the record, didn't want us to be perceived as somehow doing something that was contrary to the town charter. But again, just a fussy political science major concern.
And to your point, I think too, there was some ambiguity about the role of the CELCAB and how did that impact or not impact what the Friends were doing. And like with regard to the budget, here we are as an advisory board collectively, and yet we have no responsibility for whether we financially succeed or not, because that's the council's job. So in some way, we relinquish some of this to you as council, and council likewise relinquishes some of the responsibility of decision making to us. So I think it's more of a collaborative.
And it has worked pretty well.
It has worked well.
Yeah.
It has worked well.
I think the gentleman that was here, he even said he wasn't familiar with the town overseeing or taking advice from, excuse me, advisory committees.
Right.
It was the setup of it he had never seen before. Yeah, he wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah.
How many instances are there when the town owns a museum?
Fair point.
Just to give some clarification, he had worked 8 years for the town of Wasilla, where he ran a museum in the town's administration. So he came 8 years experience running a museum run by a local municipality in the state of Alaska.
Wow, so that was his expertise then.
And he currently works for the U.S. military, and then previously the federal government. Has quite the business to run museums.
Yeah.
My issue is that he has every right to decide whether it's wise or not for us to do that or not, but I don't think he's qualified to say it's a violation of our town charter. But that's again, neither here nor there.
Yeah, I think he does point to that we would have to consult with proper authorities, including the town's attorneys, and just to review things. Again, these are, as I've said, his recommendations through his opinions, using the guise of the codified procedures and accreditation standards and best practices, what he would recommend for us to work more efficiently and effectively in terms of time, cost, and energy for staff, volunteers, council members, and everyone all working together.
So much of what this is in terms of the assessment report has to do with staff responsibilities.
Yes, he does
So,
dive
say
right.
for example, some of the recommendations that he gives on page 25, you've already done. I mean, the collections at the Mount House are now there, the museum registrar is hired, the storage cabinets are in. So there has been tremendous progress in terms of, what his recommendations were and how we move forward. And I think the same is held true for Friends, Ellen, with regard to the grant. Now, we've got the grant dealt with directly through the Mountain House, so there's no need for Friends to hire a grant person. or for, you know, us to even concern ourselves with the Friends being responsible for any grants. Your responsibility is more event-based as a fundraiser, less having to do with administration. And I say that only because you don't have a hired administrator or manager to manage the money in you're all doing this as a volunteer and as a labor of love. So I think that's one thing that is not something you're going to have to worry about in terms of the Friends. And of course, I'm still speaking to you as if you're still chairman of the board of Friends, but I understand that.
Well, I will share that there've been a few delays over 3 months, but that's another story. But I have identified a successor president. So Beverly Milliken is agreed to step in and be president, and Mike Hughes, who had stepped up to be the secretary, is also going to be the vice president. And according to Mike, he's not a licensed attorney in Florida, but he's a practicing attorney in Chicago. And he said the only constraint on makeup of the board of Friends of the Mountain House is that it's an odd number, not to exceed 9. And it could be a party of 1, we wouldn't recommend that, but it could be 3. And so we have 3 officers identified. I'm still looking for a replacement treasurer because Nancy has made it clear that she would just assume just be a member and not be the treasurer. So I'm on the case for that. And so the deal I struck with Beverly was that she's not interested in fundraising. I said, I will, in a non-official position, be the fundraiser.
Oh, okay.
So I will work closely with Adam, and we have the meeting already wearing my fundraiser hat.
Okay.
Non-board hat. That we will call.
And you do that so well. Say.
And I've actually talked to CELCAB, so we can change banks. And we need to have a Friends board meeting and have a vote so that I can demonstrate that I am no longer the president when these new officers
An
are.
official transfer.
So that'll happen in September.
Which is, by the way, next week.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Yes,
which is next
but it'll
week.
probably be the end of September by the time we get all these ducks in a
People
row.
are back.
Yeah.
I was starting to take notes today.
No, you don't have to.
I don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
For anything.
Adam, is there parts of this that you need the advisory board to respond to?
I was hoping there would be some discussion or comments based on what he had written, or especially the recommendations that he was making for these subsections. Did you want to continue to be collection stewardship? And I can just continue through the recommendations and highlight things, and I'll pause if there's any discussion related specifically to that section.
Well, I think for me, the elephant in the room is the budget.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you know, if there's a request or a recommendation to hire a marketing person, and we don't have the money to do that, or there becomes a hiring freeze among the town collectively, that sort of doesn't involve us. That's, you know, much bigger realm of decision making. These recommendations on page 33 seem most reasonable.
Well, let me highlight the recommendations for the collections, just so everyone's aware of them.
What
You can
page
go
you
through
on,
them.
yeah?
Page 25 now, in the collections section.
Okay.
So, like Barbara, Madam Chair Hill referred to, we've already done, again, this was written in September and given to us in November. It's just CELCAB hasn't been able to meet for a few months during the year due to quorum and other issues relates to operational issues. But so we have implemented a lot of these recommendations already at the staff level, but I wanted to provide that feedback from advisory and get the advice back from the board members. So that's kind of where we're kind of playing catch up now. But his recommendations in September last year, which we've already done, and we had a whole meeting before this even, store the collections at Mound House so they are easily accessible by the museum registrar and remove any unauthorized access. Purchase museum quality storage cabinets for the collections and physically number them for accountability of artifacts within the collection. Investigate the possibility of full-time fellowship or internship to assist in the collections accessioning, cataloging, inventorying, rehousing, and a database. And rewrite the collections policy to include a number of subjects that are currently missing from the document. Most notably, he highlights environmental monitoring, a glossary, and insurance. Like, for example, the town just has a basic insurance, like a wall-to-wall insurance policy. We don't have a fine arts insurance policy. So basically the difference is if Mount Vernon, George Washington's house, if they had regular insurance and a visitor fell and broke George Washington's chair, their insurance company would say, here's the money for a wicker chair. A fine arts policy would say, oh, that's an 1898 chair from this artist of this architectural style and is owned by George Washington, so it increases the pedigree. So we don't currently have a fine arts insurance policy for our artifacts or our collections, which does impact our ability for like traveling exhibits. So like other museums won't loan us their things if we're not going to insure them, or we don't have a robust insurance policy. So that's one issue that relates to collections where money is involved in everything, but that's one issue that we hope to address in the future moving forward with like a strategic plan process. And then lastly, his last recommendation on 26 is writing a disaster preparedness and emergency response plan specific to Mount House, which we have done. And it's been integrated within the town's larger emergency management plan. Continuing on through to the next section, facilities and risk management. He discusses a little bit about the flow of the exhibits. He suggests that the flow of the museum for how people first enter the museum and go through the exhibits, he recommends some changes. With the exhibit flow and the order in which the interpretation is performed based on a museum interpretive and exhibit design level. He makes recommendations on 29, the installations of another brown historical sign halfway down Connecticut Street, because when you go down Connecticut Street, you get to the Shell Mound. You can't actually see any signs for Mount House until you're 2 houses away from Mount House. And the only thing you see is kind of the street, half collapsed, some homes under construction, and a dead-end sign.
Yes.
So he recommends putting another big sign that says Mount House, straight, keep going.
A lot of people use that to avoid the traffic on the stairs.
Yes.
That's a huge.
Yes, so maybe we'll catch them while they're doing that. Come to the museum during traffic. Write an integrated pest management plan and housekeeping plan. So we have a housekeeping plan. We don't have an integrated pest management plan yet. That's typically part of collection management policies and procedures. Do yearly walkthroughs with the sheriff's office, town security. I'm assuming he's referring to neighborhood services. The fire department to discuss which artifacts should be prioritized in case of emergency. Purchase portable gas generator and water pumps to keep, he calls it the basement, from flooding. He's referring to the underground, which he fears that if the flooding issues continue in the underground, he has concerns about the foundational issue for the Mount House Museum itself, which that's a whole other topic for probably another meeting. And then have staff get trainings in facilities maintenance so smaller issues can be taken care of before they become so large contractors have to be brought in to fix them. Moving on through education and interpretation, he makes a few points. He recommends, of course, doing virtual school programs since traffic's such an issue, finding grants. There's no area for educational programs to be done that's not they're all outside in exposed sun. So he recommends a large tent or even building a chicky on the property that can be done as an outdoor exhibit space, which is in the original 1999 management plan for Mount House, written by Arden Arrington and approved by the town council to build an outdoor chicky hut for outdoor educational programs. So maybe that's something that could be circled back upon. And introduce evaluation, so formal evaluation into programming, collect more data, and then his final recommendations on page 33, look for grants for virtual classes to expand outreach, develop a process of evaluation for programs and exhibits. A market event planner is needed to be hired so staff can focus on their duties as outlined in their position descriptions. Change the flow of exhibits so visitors see the history of the building and site first before proceeding further into the building. Look at creating an audio tour. He recommends a Bloomberg Connects, which is a free app that many museums use, which could also double as a marketing initiative, in addition to expanding interpretation of the site. And then changing the light bulbs. Currently, the exhibit light bulbs are halogen bulbs, so they're too intense and they're causing light damage to the artifacts and the house itself, that they need to be updated to LED bulbs to reduce that light damage and save energy. Feel free to stop me. Continuing on to marketing and communications, this is a very short section on page 35. Explore the possibility of hiring a full-time marketing events coordinator. If not possible, look to volunteers or interns who could assist with marketing and events planning. Create a partnership with university and high school students to use volunteers or interns to assist in marketing, if not feasible right away. And then develop a process for evaluating programs and exhibits to measure their effectiveness.
Have we started with that, or is that
Evaluations?
of our list of things to do? I guess my question when you're talking about what his recommendations were, which is a year old, to what extent have these been completed and which have not even begun, that kind of thing.
Great question. Yeah, in terms of the evaluation, when Ashley and Franklin were here, we had the staff to implement some evaluations. So after our large public programs, Ashley had developed a way to send surveys out, both for those large public programs and for our field trips. So to see, what's working in terms of an educational output, what's being gained from the programs, and then also in terms of just general satisfaction amongst visitors and especially teachers. Because field trips are a lot of money, there are a lot of resources, there's a shortage of that, budgets are constrained to everyone in the country. So we started on that, but unfortunately we've had to put a pause to that when Ashley and Franklin left.
And then just, I guess, going back to the marketing events coordinator, we did have that in the budget.
Would we, if the town hired one, would we get credit according to this entity if the town shared that person with the Mount House? Was it unique to the Mount House?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the museum is a part of the town, so I think just someone at the town level instead of one specific department would definitely be a big help. Kind of like how Seth is from the Public Works Department, but he works at Mount. He's assigned to work at Mount House.
So we could potentially satisfy that recommendation if the town hired an events coordinator whose work product included the Mount House.
I think so.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Absolutely. And it would definitely, I think, help a lot in terms of generating revenue and reducing any deficits.
Yeah, initially that was going to come out of the Parks and Rec budget and just for Parks, Rec, and Culture budget, just for our areas. And then we were just thinking there's so much good stuff that happens. There's Sunday concerts and there's Friday concerts now, and there's events that we want to help promote. That it would just be nice if, it's sometimes me or Nicole going to the event every time, and it'd free us up too, but they could promote it a little bit more. So that was going to be a special events in marketing.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. The perfect world.
And then it would be shared with all departments.
Yeah.
It wouldn't come out of just one budget.
Yeah.
And I would think many of the profits on the island would be thrilled to
Maybe liaison with those.
Correct,
entities, yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Because I think many of you are aware of the not-for-profits. I say we because I'm involved with a whole bunch of them. But there is a group under the auspices of the Women's Club called the Alliance of Not-for-Profits, and we meet quarterly and plan so that we don't step on each other's toes either on dates or the type of programming that's being done, and also provide assistance to somebody that is in need of additional whatever. And so, so having the town have this person, and if that person liaison with the Alliance, that would be a very easy and low cost, as in time, way for them to stay everybody's in the loop.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we had, when I was working with the Shrimp Fest on that committee, same thing. We had somebody that just reached out to these different organizations and just asked if they could promote it too, and they worked with the town.
Right.
So
And
I agree. I mean,
the Lions come to this Alliance meeting. I mean, there are probably representatives from every not-for-profit on the island. Some of them that are not on the island but want to be active on this island.
Yeah. It's a good organization.
It is. Works well.
That was the last section. The only other things remaining in Dr. Neal's report is the summary and recommendations, which I had foreseen and got consent from earlier CELCAB meetings that would be kind of a meeting in itself, the summary and final recommendations for the whole report, and then that we can also go through and add, write and figure out those appendixes to add for our own edification and education, and using the document as a living tool to then take the next step to revisit the strategic plan process, and then we can go down that path.
So are you suggesting that we take the summary on these other sheets with page 39, I guess?
I'm happy to discuss it now. It's up to y'all.
Well, we can certainly do it now, but we can have that as a separate agenda item for next month. I think so, because we're kind of running to hours. Well, actually, we started at one, so it's not too long.
It's early for us.
Your call, Adam, in terms of what you want to do.
Yeah, I think waiting so we can have an overall to include everything in
Right.
and then also I have in terms of what's been done and what's been accomplished, I can share more concrete and actually have a document so it's more visual for y'all to see, what is in progress, what's been done, what we're working on. Because after the map report, the staff of the American Lights Museums, me as the project lead, had me develop basically a plan to implement these recommendations if they were so accepted by the governing authority, being the town council.
Right.
So I think after we discuss that, then it would be brought before the town council as the final governing authority of the Mount House Museum to oversee and discuss, because the other council members, they've been sent the report, but I don't think it's been discussed at council meetings yet. So I think that would be the next step, to have CELCAB give those recommendations and those penances and that finished report and move it up the chain of, not chain of command, but up the goalpost, if you want to say.
So
The council's the touchdown. If they approve it, it's a touchdown.
Yes. Down the end zone. So that's the way I saw it, but feel free, I'm happy for any suggestions.
Let's put this on as an agenda item for next month.
Okay.
And we can continue that conversation. So we then can just move on to member items and reports if we're ready. It seems that we are. Before we go to individual members, I'd like to make a call out to the public that we have 3 openings of positions that again need to be filled. A lot of the present CELCAB members will want to put in their application again. So I think there are 3 that are up this fall. But if anyone from the general public would like to serve on this advisory committee or any other advisory committee in the town, I strongly encourage you to apply. It's and I don't believe you need to be a resident of the town of Fort Myers Beach, at least for CELCAB.
Correct. I think there's a preference for residents for
Off
CELCAB,
island.
but
Yeah,
it's
yes.
not a requirement like you do with LPA and the audit committee.
Right. So
Or
just
council.
so that's out there. So anybody that would like to be a part of any of the advisory boards, call the town and get the application and look at, see which areas of interest to you.
Yeah, it is on the town website as well too. So if you want to look at the openings that are actually there for the different ones, and see what your interest piques, and if you want
Right.
to start put your name in. It's great. There's an application process too, just so everyone knows. You just can't say I want to go in at night. There's an application that you fill out. Yeah. So it's not a long process, but there is an application to fill out.
Hopefully it'll become more of a competitive thing where people really do want to serve, don't feel obligated because there's nobody else that's coming up, the rank. So it'd be nice if there was more interest and support from the community to be part of this CELCAB group. With that, I'll go on to, actually, I know you're not a member, but you've offered so many good input items at this meeting, Jim, so.
You've been so generous in allowing me to address my items today, so I don't have anything additional aside from the water ferry and the kayak issue, but Thank you for the opportunity.
Ellen?
So I'm going through the photos that are in the appendix of this. I'm struck by the pre-Ian photos of the underground. And I think I've always voiced this idea in the past, but I'm wondering, we have the plywood that's covering the entrance right now. Could, in an inexpensive way, could these photos be reproduced and some kind of a caption to say this was the before Ian look of the underground?
We have that in the museum. There are two spots in the museum where there are exhibit panels about, I think it's 11 by 17 photographs of the underground exhibit and the stratification before Hurricane Ian. And then we also have a book, we have Pat's book at the front counter, so whenever people ask about it, we open up to that page and use it.
I meant when people are walking around the property and they see those plywood doors.
Oh, yeah.
Could it be applied to those plywood doors, like a vinyl something or other?
Yeah.
So that
Full size.
That they're on site seeing, wow, that's what's behind that.
That's what's behind.
Yeah, or is it, yeah,
This- like
is it
this-
that or is it storage?
Yeah,
Right,
this
okay.
photo, right, just this one.
Yeah, just that's, yeah, it could be just this photo.
Right.
And maybe an explanation of
What happened?
What happened?
What's been
I
happening.
like that, that's a great idea, Ellen.
Something
Yeah.
to show 'em.
And that would be fairly inexpensive, you know,
Oh, yeah.
just to enlarge a photo and put it on what, Mylar or there's some
There's outdoor displays. It's inexpensive.
signage companies, I think.
Yeah, 'cause you
And
just
it's
take
It'd be the
like-
same as the mural,
It's
wouldn't it be?
vinyl.
Like it's
Oh,
we can go and say.
If you did it, it would be could be the same material as the mural.
Or is something more permanent?
Well, I know that just the vinyl signs that are basically waterproof, are weatherproof. You would, I mean, I'll leave it to the experts to come up with the methodology, but I think
If, my point is, if there's money in the budget to redo the mural for the chambers, there's certainly money in the budget for this too. So maybe that can happen. This would obviously be minimal by comparison.
It would be minimal, yeah, but
And I'll also point out, as we all know, people walk that property and never go into the museum. So this would be to let them know what's there.
you know, and even a little, hey, if you want to learn more about this, come to the
Right.
museum.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, we have also, well, that's good timing because we are also thinking of, you know, the I don't forget what they're called, the little drain things on the second floor porch.
Yeah.
I forgot their names right now. But using that as a structure to hang maybe nice vinyl banners from, to show maybe nice illustrations of like Mount House Museum, welcome.
Interpretive panels?
Not interpretive panels, but you know, like when you go to MFA St. Pete, the Museum of Fine Arts St. Pete, and they'll have like the exhibit currently, and they'll have a nice display and mock-up of what the exhibit is, like
Right.
what's traveling, what's on display. Maybe something like that.
Oh,
That's-
yes.
that because we actually had a problem where a town staff member came from the finance department, who's worked here for years, and she arrived at the Mound House, and she had to call because she didn't know where the museum was, and she was parked right in front.
Oh, my goodness.
She thought that was a house, because there's no sign on the museum that says museum or welcome. Because people go by all the time and they say that's the Mount House, and people assume it's a private residence because that's how it's set up.
And just think about the boat traffic that would see that.
Exactly.
That is a good point.
That's a great point.
Exactly.
So definitely, we'll look into adding that in addition to some more signage, vinyl signage on the museum itself that can be hung from, but not like a permanently attached thing that would damage anything to the museum.
And I
In
know
addition
you-
to the plywood door.
I know you and I have talked about this because I've encountered people that are standing in the parking lot and not sure where to go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, wayfinding,
Exactly.
that's a big
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do for a while.
Yeah.
Complicated field.
Yes,
In your spare time.
in my spare time.
Yeah, all this.
Even when the GPS finds it, they still know, where is it?
Well, and you know, that's a whole field of wayfinding. I've read books about it.
Anything else, Helen?
No, that's it.
Okay, good, thank you. Jerry?
Along with our mural, is the mural still outside?
Yes, all but one panel.
Is it,
Because of size.
is it holding up?
Yeah, very well.
Excellent.
People love it.
Excellent.
If you haven't been, we have that, I don't know when, but we had some new landscaping done, and it's really come in, especially with all this rain we've been having. So it looks very, very nice down by the
Yes,
mural and the observation pier.
Wonderful.
When you say done, you mean redone?
Redone.
Redone for store. And this is probably a naive question because I've been out of commission for a while. Is Brianna still with us?
Yes.
There you go. She's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes, thank goodness.
Good.
Yes. So yeah, so staff at Mount House currently is myself, Karina, Museum Development Coordinator, Sandra, Visitor Services, and Brianna, Collections Registrar.
You know, too, if we would have like some programs coming up with Brianna explaining, I mean, people love that type of thing.
We're planning, hopefully next
Artifacts.
meeting, I'll have some highlights in terms of what we've planned in the future. And she's basically planning a bi-monthly, twice a month tour to do kind of like hour-long archaeology collective management tour where it starts outside, talks about the archaeology site, and then the behind-the-scenes element in the artifact preservation lab where you get to go into that space and she gets to show you what she's currently working on.
Is this the one you introduced me to when you got the tour?
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
spent about an hour with her. This is a woman who's committed to her job.
Yes.
Yes.
She's
Oh,
an
the
impressive,
organization.
really
I
is
just love her.
she's such a professional.
Yes.
And a perfectionist.
We're very fortunate to have her.
That's good, thank you.
And you need more help so that we don't burn people out.
Yes, yes, yes. Good.
I have nothing more. Oh, actually, I have a question about AI, because obviously this is permeating virtually every industry, every institution, every educational industry. So is there something, obviously this report that we got really didn't even address the issue of AI. But I do think it's time, and I'm just kind of wondering, are you getting any direction from AAM with regard to how museums are dealing with AI now?
Yeah, there's a few sessions. Brianna and I are attending the Southeastern Museum Conference in Montgomery, Alabama, in October. Yeah, she's gonna be there too, so.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Natalie. So there's a couple sessions on AI, I believe, or at least it'll be talked about in a couple sessions. AAM's written some magazines. Their latest
Yes.
issue was on AI, but they haven't. It's really like with many industries, an open frontier. That's everyone's still trying to figure it out. There's a lot of startups. It kind of reminds me of the dot-com boom in the early 2000s. So hopefully it's a lot more positive progression than the dot-com boom of the early 2000s. So hopefully
Even before that, in the 70s or 80s, with just computers coming out.
yeah.
the first
Yes.
time.
Adam's my AI, by the way. If I need to know something, I call Adam.
Anyway, I just think it's timely, and I think it definitely
definitely
needs to
something
be part
to-
of the
strategic planning
conversation,
process.
because we can't let that slide. So
Keep up and be hip with the times.
You've got to, absolutely. All right, so.
I've got nothing.
You've got
Great,
nothing.
great.
Put in the work on the assessment report, and we'll put the agenda item for next month as the,
Thursday.
this is yours.
Oh, do you need it?
I have my own copy. It's
Okay, I have it on here too.
25th.
Mine's all marked up in my office.
Yes, and what day did we have, looking at?
September 25th,
1 o'clock.
1
Yep.
o'clock.
And
in town.
1 p.m., and it'll be at the new town hall.
So it's the 18th?
25th.
25th, okay, good.
Okay.
Just
so-
remember that the open house is September 10th. If you guys all want to come. They're going to give tours of the building if you're interested to see what the different floors are, what departments are in there, and then they'll have a celebration and some speakers, I'm sure.
And
9 to 11.
9 to 11, yeah. Thanks, Jim.
And then the week after the town hall's ribbon cutting on September 10th, on Saturday, September 20th at 5:30 p.m. at Mount House is our a part of Honorable Nuestra Historia event, which is a regional-wide cooperation program to enrich and inspire residents and visitors to the area's Latino heritage in collaboration with the Florida Public Archaeology Network, Collier County Museums, and various other museums. We're kind of the first event of that month-long series during Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're kind of we're starting it off with our Sabor Rancho, which is our salsa dance dinner, and tour at Mountain House. So early bird tickets are on sale now until September 5th at $40 per person. After that, it goes up to $45. And if you're a member of the Mountain House, you get an additional 20% off on top of that. So I encourage you all to purchase your tickets. Seating is limited to only 20 people. 20 for a very personalized salsa dance lesson. To have a very lovely sunset dinner on the second floor of the Mountain House Museum overlooking Estero Bay.
Oh,
And then October 11th, Saturday, October 11th. Thank you, Joe. Yes, Saturday, October 11th, from 5:30 to 9 p.m. We're doing a moonlight market at Mountain House.
That sounds really cool.
So we're having independent, vintage artists coming from across the region, including some local favorites who really have a cult following. So hopefully to bring a lot of people to the island and who haven't been since Hurricane Ian. And really rediscover Fort Myers Beach and Mountain House through this free admission evening, let's say day. Hopefully it'll be nice. It's a couple days after full moon, so it should be nice and bright. And we'll have some outdoor vendors. Should be a fun event. So October 11th, Moonlight Market, Mountain House.
Are you going to have food vendors?
What time now?
5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Are you going to have food vendors?
Yes, there will be food vendors.
That sounds wonderful.
that does sound
It
good.
does sound good.
And is there any charge? That's a free event?
Free event.
So-
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Come and learn about some of the vintage and independent artists and artisans and shops
So is
in the
that
area.
considered part of the program? That's not a fundraiser, obviously.
Just
so-
program, an event,
Yeah.
Bring people to the Mountain House.
general awareness, engagement, especially in October, slower time of the year.
Right.
so if it's very successful, is it something you would consider having it on a regular basis?
Yes, so it's the first time ever we're doing something like that in October. In years past, there's the Friends have done their Christmas markets in December. That was before my time. That was before COVID. I started 5 years ago. And so first time in a while, so we're gonna see how it goes, especially in regards to parking. Parking's always a challenge. We have the 6 parking spots at Mountain House and then only 28 spots in the overflow parking lot a quarter mile away without a sidewalk.
Could maybe look at an alternative.
And the
Spot.
The Women's Club has the Christmas Tree Festival, which is under the auspices of the Alliance for Not-for-Profit. So Sherry has kindly agreed to do our trees.
Yet again.
We'll
Yet
be
again.
represented.
So, yes, and any ideas, I'm open to any.
And that this year is going to be at Margaritaville?
Correct.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh,
On the Sunset Terrace.
okay.
One of the big selling points is, so you can buy the tree online ahead of time. There's an buy now price. And apparently more clever your name is of your themed tree, the more likely it is to go at a high price. So get your thinking caps on.
All right, we will offer suggestions.
Get that kid who got the ice cream flavor to come up with some ideas.
Sure, we're going to build on Sherry's idea. Say it out loud.
An old-fashioned candy Christmas tree, where you hang the cherries off and some of the old things. I mean, I found some online, but some of the old candy and the colorful suckers and it's an idea. Oh, an idea.
That sounds good. All right, so we have our meeting set for September 25th. We have a motion to adjourn. If there's no other further business, your motion is adjourned. There's a second to adjourn? Yes?
Yes, second.
Okay, Sharon? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned, and it is 2:55 p.m. I'm not quite, I don't see a clock.
No, there's a clock, but it's always the same time.
So,
It's right twice a day.
We should just get a replica clock like that, like a face, and just put it there.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
Just, I'll look into that.
All you need are the hands to the number, but that'd be cool.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I was thinking we could just have